Nefertiti is the wife to Akhenaten, and she appears to be a queen consort rather than a queen regent, not having a great deal of power in and of herself. And we find this bust. So a bust is head and shoulders portrait of someone, which is what we're seeing, typically sculpted. And it's found unfinished in the workshop of Thutmose. Now, why would he leave it unfinished? Well, one could imagine that Akhenaten is not very popular. He dies. She loses power. And consequently, what's the point of continuing with the sculpture? The next pharaoh isn't going to be interested. It would be the equivalent of changing presidents as we change parties. So, for example, Barack Obama probably would not continue an art project that is celebrating the wife of or the life of George W. Bush. And we would see the same thing for Donald Trump coming in as president. Wouldn't be covering the expenses of a piece being created to honor Barack Obama. We see these changes in rulership, and when someone is coming from a very oppositional direction, we tend to see unfinished pieces. Thutmose, as the artist, of course, is going to sit there and go, you know what, if I'm not going to get paid, I'm not going to finish it. And so it would just be set aside. But he does create a very elegant sculpture, beautifully painted, that gives us a great deal of information about female beauty in ancient Egypt. Now, Nefertiti was a powerful woman in some ways, or we believe that she was. We see her mentioned far more than any other queen that we typically would see in Egyptian history. And sometimes she's wearing the pharaonic headdress, giving a sense of power. Now, this could just be equality with Akhenaten. This may not mean that she is a queen regent, but it is a little bit unclear at present. And she is idealized, which means she is godlike. And they have done some things to make her look a little bit different, a little more elegant. So, leaving aside the face for the moment, who do you know has a neck that is that long? That is an enormously long neck. Why would you do that? To give a sense of elegance and grace to the figure. Elongated forms artistically give this sense. We tend to associate them with female forms. We'll see it again in the late Renaissance mannerism. We see it in other periods in art. But by extending the body, it gives this sense of someone who is particularly graceful, which I find rather interesting because I'm quite tall and thin, and no one has ever looked at me and gone, wow, that is a graceful instructor. In terms of the face, we get a sense of the cosmetics, that they're wearing lipstick. We see the eyeliner that's being used. They are using makeup in various forms. Now, lipstick, red lipstick, is to give a sense of fertility because as men and women get older, there's less blood flow, for example, to the face and the lips, and so the lips lose the bright red color they have when we're younger. We see the use of eyeliner, but then traced back in that long line off on the outside edge. That's stylized. That doesn't need to be there from a practical perspective. And so it gives us that sense of what she might have done to beautify herself, which she probably needs a few beauty treatments today. Yes, this is in fact an Italian beef sandwich or the remains of Nefertiti, which looks a lot like an Italian beef sandwich. And you will never eat an Italian beef sandwich again. I'm just saying.